So good afternoon to Mandinko. Good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you for coming in. Just want to get a voice projection.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for having me on your program.
Okay. All right. Good to have you. All right. So now that I know everything is working all right, thank you so much, Joan. I'm able to start my conversation. First of all, you reminded me that this is not the first time you were here, but in a different capacity.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So you have written a book. You have now, from what you were doing before, which is not necessarily important at this stage,
Correct.
to now being an author. What was the reason for the transition? You decided to begin writing books.
It is not really a transition. It is something that I do separately apart from everything else that I do. I'm still an entrepreneur. But my inspiration has always been there. It's just that it gave me more clarity in expressing what I would like the community to know.
Yeah.
With less controversy. So
But you've decided that you, from early, you've decided, whatever I'm involved in or whatever I'm thinking, I'm going to put it in book form.
That's correct. Actually, it was a good friend of mine who, in our speaking, advised me, to start to write. Many people will not comprehend what you're saying, so begin to write. So it began.
Yeah. Your first book was about the history of St. Eustatius. By the way, you're from St. Eustatius.
That's correct. I was born in St. Eustatius.
Yeah. And your first book was the history of St. Eustatius.
Pretty much. Actually, I was born the same time with one of the sons of the Queen of the Netherlands, and my dad wanted me to present her a book.
Okay.
So he kind of inspired me to do this book and present her as a gift that contained information about ourselves and a little bit about St. Eustatius.
So the history of St. Eustatius, nothing in it at all about the monarchy, the queen, or anything of that nature?
Within the book?
Yes.
Oh, most definitely. She's very loved by the people of St. Eustatius, so it would lighten up her heart to hear about them or read or get to know a little more about them.
So you sort of connect what's going on in St. Eustatius with the monarchy?
Pretty much.
To some degree.
Yes, pretty much. That book will be online very soon too.
Okay. So that is not yet available, you mean?
Not online as the others are. But
Okay.
it has been passed around and sent around. The Queen herself should have a copy of it. It's not nothing spectacular, just a very simple book, that was presented to her. So we
Okay.
plan to fix it up and make it more feasible to understand and read.
And then you turn to some the spirit of the lion, dragon, and doves.
Yes.
Fictional or just?
No, very realistic. Actually, when you look at the fruit of the Spirit in the Bible, the first sector of the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, and goodness. These are all the mild side of love, so which is symbolized by the dove. And then you get faith and meekness, I think, because faith is like courage, symbol of the lion, and meekness balances out your faith so it does not become egotistical pride. Hence the purpose why the lion is used to symbolize those two parts. And the latter part is wisdom, which is symbolized by the dragon, which is a symbol of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Yeah.
There's a part in the Bible that says, be wise as serpent, harmless as dove. The serpent is the dragon.
And that, would you consider that more spiritual?
It is biblical. Biblical is completely very much so spiritual as well as historical.
So what kind of review did you get from that second book?
It was very spectacular. It has sold in the US, in Europe, in America, online. It has sold here locally as well. But I think it was during the time of the COVID, so we couldn't have an elaborate book launch as we can have now. It was very, suppressed by the routines of the COVID, etc.
And the limitations, of course.
Yeah. But we still had our book.
And then this final one, which caused you to be here, is astrology within the Bible. Now, the whole idea of astrology, to some, they use it as guidance. To others, they see it as evil. And yet to others, they think nothing is really wrong with it. Astrology in the Bible, can you help us figure where the connections are?
Well, sure. As per Genesis 1:14, Bible literally tells us that the planets are for signs, seasons, days, months, and years. Every day is named after a planet. Sunday is named after the sun. Monday is named after the moon, Lunis in Spanish. Tuesday is named after Mars. Wednesday, Mercury. Thursday, Jupiter. Friday, Saturn. And Friday, Venus. And Saturday, Saturn. And the signs that we get for us people to determine what our core characters are, such as sanguine, melancholic, phlegmatic, choleric. These signs are portrayed by the elements that we represent. So completely biblical.
Yeah, but first of all, let me say you must have left out some of the planets, because you only gave about for the rest
7
of the days.
Yeah.
But these astrology signs are usually from month to month.
Yes.
So, and will you say it's in the Bible? It's in Genesis? That's where you go to get the clarification?
Just one of the areas. There are other places as well. I think it's Psalms 119 that tells you that the moon determines the seasons. And the sun, which is the greater light, determines the day.
Yeah.
And the moon determines the light, but also the moon determines the seasons. Two of the other main planets that were missing were probably Uranus and Pluto, one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two planets are collaborated with the moon to determine the season.
So what knowledge does that offer us?
Okay. We know, for example, as I said before, many old folks know when to catch turtles laying eggs on the beach by the moon. They know when to plant for the crop to grow bigger by the timing of the moon. They know how to cut your hair in alignment with the moon for it to grow longer. We go as far as your core characters are really based on your time of birth, what element you were born under. Because there are 4 elements, but each element has 3 zodiac signs within them. And the 4 elements are water, earth, air, and fire. In Bible, you will hear Jesus say he is the light of the world, which is fire. He's the water of life directly. He's the bread of life, which is food. And he is, which one is missing? He's the breath of life, which is air. So he's portraying these same 4 elements as as our reliance upon him for sustenance. So these 4 elements symbolize the same thing. And then you have 12 zodiac signs. You have 12 months. The only difference with these 12 months and the 12 zodiac signs is that the beginning of the year is actually in spring, not really in January, which is the middle of winter. So spring commences as of the 22nd of this month, and when you go down, you reach to September. September means Septimo, which is the 7th month. October means 8, which is the 8th month. November means 9. December comes from decimal, which means 10. So if you follow the alignment of the zodiac, you get the exact months in the alignment that they are supposed to be in. We also know of Harriet Tubman and many other slaves, leading the slaves to freedom by following the North Star. That is astrology. The 3 wise men in the Bible, they followed the star to find baby Jesus. And they knew of his birth because of the significance of the star that they saw in the east. All astrology.
Yeah. How does that relate to us learning that, or what would someone be missing if they have no knowledge of this and live their life without even considering those astrological signs?
They miss out on everything about themselves. First of all, you have 4 different types of people in general, but you also have 4 needs of those 4 different types of people. For example, the water signs are known to be Cancer, Pisces, and there's one more, Scorpio. The water sign people, they are very emotional, but very nurturing and very caring. These are the ideal people to work in for example, as nurses, medical doctors, teachers, even dentists. These people have a natural tendency to be nurturing and caring. The fire people are high energy people. Aries, what is the other one again? Aries, Leo. And there's one more, you'll have Sagittarius. These are the fire elements. These people have a high energy of level. These are the ideal people by nature for rescue missions, soldiers, police officers, things that are very physically reliant on the physicality. The air sign people now, which is the air, they make ideal lawyers, judges, poets, writers. And then if to go to the last one, which was the last one again now, for the earth people, they are very detailed. They're very caring about specifics. They are very ideal people for accountants, engineers, etc. So every type of people born on the element is necessary for the world.
Can I say that it's not necessarily true? I've known people who are under the same sign, but they're very, very different. Is that possible?
Yes, because you have cardinal people, fixed people, and mutable people. There are three ways of being cardinal. Cardinal means those who take the lead, initiate things. You have those people who are born cardinal. Now, everyone born in the beginning of a season are cardinal. So to begin from the sequence would be Cancer, not Cancer. That would be not Cancer. Oh boy, help me. The first one is
I certainly can't. I can't even keep up to date with it.
Aries. Aries is the first person. Is the cardinal sign of the fire sign. Then next to them comes Summer. The one who begins in summer is Cancer. And then we get Autumn, which is the air signs, and then we get the earth signs, which are the earth signs are melancholic, etc. So this is one way of determining cardinal, but there's a second way. The second way is based on the day you were born. The day you were born also determines your level, your capacity, and it could be opposite to what your cardinal is. And then thirdly, you have your numerology. When you add up the time that you were born, the day, the month, and the year, you come to term with another type of cardinality that can hang in those. So you have three different things working with you to ascertain as to what field a person would fall into.
So it's possible that you can be different in some way.
Yep. Because there are three different ways of being cardinal.
Your book teaches these details, or what would someone who would want to get your book, how would you describe what they would benefit from it? You teach those details, or you just give information regarding the astrology within the Bible?
Both. It teaches you how it works, etc. Just like what I explained you there. It goes into the details of what you would be like if your life path number is 1 to 9. Teaches you about the master's numbers being 11, 22, or 33, and how to correlate them together so as to decide what you would fit into best.
Yeah.
So
you strictly base this on the Bible.
Most definitely, that's where it began. This was orchestrated by God himself.
Yeah. So how then can you, if one would want to back up, do you support it with scripture, or how do you do that?
First of all, a belief system should not be enforced upon no one else. Everyone has the right to their own beliefs.
Yes.
I have more respect for people who believe, who express what they honestly believe, than agreeing with me. We don't need to agree. But what I want to prohibit is to stop people from being, boxed in, from learning outside of the box, from thinking outside the box. So it's good to have a variety of concepts in your head and be open-minded to them and be able to choose without having to succumb to the pressure of having to fall within a ritual of beliefs.
So astrology then, would you encourage people to learn of themselves through astrology, and how do you go about doing that? This happens to be something that I don't believe is part of any educational system anyway. I don't know. Maybe there are people who, usually scholars of the Bible, who study the Bible, they can decide maybe by way of feeling led to go through scripture and figure out these stuff. But as far as I know, if you want to study astrology, can you study astrology? Well, as far as, like, let's say a university or school system don't really teach astrology.
No, but I must say I was on the same page with you prior to writing my book. After writing my book, my wife shows me a series of books that has the same topics that I had, expressing the exact same things, Christians, and we both stuck with our mouths open.
Yeah.
Because in our mind, we were the only ones with this perspective. And to make it even worse, they had the pictures of the 3 wise men on the cover of the book, the same picture that I used to portray the booklet. And we were dumbfounded.
Yeah.
We are still dumbfounded about it. So we're not the only ones, and this is not just my perspective. They are humongous.
So you understand my position,
yes,
because you were there.
I was there.
Yeah. The thing is, there must be some value to it, especially a spiritual value, I must add. If when telling the story of Jesus, who is the most important person that have been on planet Earth because of what he represents, attached to wise men and following stars and that kind of stuff. So, and some people have that as a religion as well. So I guess some people might be struggling between as to whether they are exposing themselves to evil when they, live by the stars or follow the moon and these elements. How do you make sense of that for those persons who are caught in between wanting to be right and not sure whether they're right? But again, because it's attached to what I believe is the most significant person in life, which is Jesus Christ himself. I got to be something about it.
Well, I will tell you this primarily, when I was about 17, I came to the realization there are billions of religions in the world. Why does it have to be Christianity? It has to be the right one. What is wrong with Buddhism? How can I know unless I prove them? So I went on a quest and I started studying with a variety of different religions, beliefs, all of them pretty much. As much as Shintoism, Hinduism, Taoism. I went through all of them.
Okay.
And what I began to realize is that they all have the same thing in common, the same perspective. For example, what you call that word, the nirvana, is a way of love in Buddhism, just like the Christian. Karma is the same as to reap what you sow. And there was one time I was studying with a high priest from the temple in India. He was a chief Hindu high priest from the temple. He was even inviting me down. He wore the prayer beads. He told me about the sacredness of the cow. Actually, in my doubt about Christ's existence, he is the one who told me that Jesus was real, because I never saw it in a book. And he told me that Jesus used to visit the Himalayas with the tin industry with Joseph of Arimathea. And Joseph of Arimathea is the one whose tomb Jesus was buried in.
Correct.
And I was dumbfounded. And he's telling me between the ages of 12 and 30, there was no history on him because he used to work. He used to travel to England and other places. And he referred me to a book called Jesus in the Himalayas. And I was shocked. So whilst we Christians are questioning a normal question, but Hindus believe, the real Hindus who know the truth, believe in his existence. And so we learned that you get information from all the different religions, and if you put them together, you will most likely get the answers that you're looking for. You cannot get it singularly. That is my observation regarding the matter.
But doesn't that confuse things a little bit, because and create some sort of conflict, because each religion or spiritual concept want to claim that their way is right and others are wrong?
Well, actually, no. Actually, in really comprehending the Bible, you realize that the Bible has absolutely nothing to do with religion. Not at all. The temple that the Levites priests used to be in was like a government building. And the tithe that they were paying, that 10% was a social welfare system for the community. At one point, the Israelites did not even have a king. They had a prophet who used to consult with God as their king. Now, religion came into play with Rome when Rome conquered the Israelites. And they wanted to control them, but they couldn't because their religion was tied into their governance. So in order to stop it, they put a stop to it, put everyone to worship on the sun's day, which was their god. You got a picture of the sun behind all the saints' head to merge pagans and Christians together to get control. And that is where religion began. And if your head of church is over the state, then you're, for example, When the Roma's emperors went out to conquer Europe for Rome, they ruled the places as emperors rather than the generals rather than reporting to Rome. So Emperor Justinian in 500 something AD put the head of church at the head of state, and that gave them control over those who rebelled against them. So religion began more for political control. Nothing to do with God.
Nothing to do with God. And astrology has its role in the lives of just about everybody, you think?
Every single. As a matter of fact, Christ even chose 12 disciples because he needed every type of character to relate to each other, because there are 12 type of people. Every sign has a difference. He also wrote 4 gospels. 4 gospels were the 4 cardinal signs of the elements, because the 4 cardinal signs have different core characters. And the book of John, for example, gives a little different side of the story than the book of Matthew, Mark, or Luke. Because people who think a certain way have to be able to comprehend it. Hence the reason why you have 4 gospels of the 12 disciples. Same structure. You have 12 gates to the city. You have 12 months, the 12 different moons to determine the year. You have 12 apostles, you have 12 tribes of the earth, which means there are 12 different races in the earth. For example, you have 4 basic races, red, yellow, black, and white, which we can call cardinal. You have 4 directions, east, west, north, south. But within those 4 races, you have sub-races that merge up to 12 different cultures in the world together. So 12 covers a very spiritual, symbolical meaning.
So numbers are significant as well.
Extremely.
Yeah, but how much can one get their mind around all of this if it's all necessary?
That is what philosophy does. It merges everything together to make it easy to comprehend. So you get a deep understanding as to why things are the way they are.
All right. Folks, I'm here with Mandinko Dee, who has written a book called Astrology Within the Bible. I'm having a conversation with him. This book is available where at the moment?
It is available on Amazon. You can go online and Google the book. In Amazon, you can purchase it. But we're having a book launch on March 30th at the Belia Community Center at 7 p.m., where it will be very explicit in explaining and relating the book and the value of astrology. So I would really recommend that everyone comes out. Who can't fit inside will fit outside.
What time it starts?
It starts at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. And you'll have books available as well.
Most definitely.
Okay, let me take a break quickly. This is Viewpoint on a Friday. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue a conversation with the author of the book, Astrology Within the Bible. All right, welcome back to this discussion with Mandinko Dee. I'm told that there is a call online. Let's see what this call has to offer. Yes, caller, go ahead. Hello? Good afternoon, caller. Go ahead. I think we missed that call, Joan. All right. Okay. Mandinko, astrology within the Bible. And of course, is there any astrology outside of the Bible? Anything that is similar to what's biblical and what's not biblical? Can you define that?
Yes, definitely. Astrology within the Bible is for signs such as zodiac signs, to give you a guideline. When you hear about a sign doesn't tell you if you turn this corner you're going to die. A sign tells you that there are curves ahead, that they're working on the road. It advises you, it guides you. If it was to predict your life, it would be called zodiac predictions. There are no zodiac predictions, zodiac signs. So the extremity of astrology has to do with predictions, reading your palm, telling you what your day would be like. You know, on another program, I once mentioned that it will work because if you learn to believe in what you're being told, your mind will accept it and you will manifest it because you expect it.
Say it again, because when you go to crystal balls and reading palms and that kind of stuff, usually that is associated with evil. But you're saying that it will work because of what you're taking in will take effect on your person?
Yes,
I put it that way, but that's not your exact words. But I think that's what you're trying to say.
Well, what I'm saying is there's a part in the Bible that says we as human beings, as children of God, we can have anything we want. We have to ask,
Yes,
which means confirm what you want. You have to seek. The word seek has two parts. To take away the K is to see visually, and to seek is the actual part of seeking. Sometimes if you're looking for something and you may have seen it there the first day, but because you didn't visualize it in your mind, you will bypass it. When you go back again, you see the same thing that was there before because you didn't expect to see it. So to seek is a combination of seeing and visioning what you want, but also the action of working towards it. And then the third one is to knock. When I came here to the radio station, I knocked on the door, but I knocked because you were expecting me. So you knock. Knocking is a symbol of expectation. So you knock because you expect. So if you ask God for what you want, if you seek for it by visualizing and working towards it, and if you expect it to happen, it will happen. So if someone feeds your mind with information and you accept it and you expect it to happen, because you can even ask and seek, but then another part of your mind says, I get real, this won't happen, this doesn't happen to people. That is where you block it. So if they can get you past that and they feed you with information in the beginning stages and you learn to trust it, when they tell you that if you go today you will die, you will either stay home and be controlled by them or you'll go and die because you expect it. So that's why it is important to be careful what you put your trust into. Your mind has the power to manifest whatever you manage to put those three things to.
So you wouldn't classify that as evil?
I see it as evil. I see it as manipulation. And
is manipulation evil?
It is, in my opinion, yes. You know, because you are predicting. Bible doesn't go into personal prediction. It predicts about life in the new world to come, but about your life, it gives you the freedom of choice to choose what to do with it. So that is where the line is drawn. That's when there's always bullseye is never to the top or to the bottom. It's right in the middle. So you have to look right in the middle as to what information you're looking for from it.
And numbers is also part of astrology, you say. There are people who have certain beliefs. Their belief system, of course, would lead them to follow the zodiac signs. Or if they're gamblers and want to win the lottery, they would go after certain numbers and all these stuff. And I mean, if it's not evil, then it's good. But is it actually a workable system that we can use when we understand what about astrology?
No, Bible doesn't attest to that at all. It goes as far only as says that they are for signs, for seasons, for days, months, and years. The signs can fall on the zodiac sign to understand who you are, what your nature is, what you will fit best into, but not to predict what you will be or what you have to be.
So when you associate that with let's say, with vanity, win something or that kind of stuff.
Not God ways, not God's
It has nothing to do with God. God has nothing to do with it. All right. Folks, I'm speaking to Mandinko Dee, who is going to be at the Belia Community Center, you say it is?
That's correct.
On the 30th of March, 30th of this month at 7 p.m. He would have a book launch, The Astrology Within the Bible. Would you have any of your other books there as well, or just
the other books are all gone, but I will try to have them there as well if it reaches on time. I will put a request to have them printed on time.
Oh yeah, you have some more printed.
Yeah, I will have some more.
Or if you want to get it online, you can get it online as well.
Yes, you can.
On
You can
Amazon.
online. Yes, that's correct.
The thing is, it's always better when you can get it direct. If you go to Amazon or you're ordering it online, sometimes if you don't have any choice, because you would rather order it there than it's you're choosing.
Yeah.
But it will cost you a little bit more because shipping would be added to that. What would be a little bit more. So if you come to Belia Community Center on the 30th of March, put that in your calendar, and you'll be able to get would you be autographing copies of the book
Most
as well?
definitely.
Yeah. You didn't walk with one, so I can't make reference to it to see what type of binding and...
Oh, you're right. I should have walked with a sample, But it's a normal book, a professional book.
How many
well put
pages?
together. It has less than 100 pages.
Okay.
We don't believe in being excessive. We believe in getting to the point.
Okay.
Excessive reading does tire people. They want to keep things to keep them going, so we always ensure that it's not longer than necessary.
And it's something that you can learn from.
A lot from.
You said that you were about to write another book.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, you were shifted to do this book before you even go, so you have more coming.
Definitely.
What was going through your mind when you ended up with astrology within the Bible?
To me, it was a very spiritual experience. I didn't have any intentions of writing such a book. I was busy with another book regarding the bloodlines of the Nephilims, etc., and how it merges into our people. And I was just shifted from that in thought. Almost for a couple of months, every day I'm waking up with inspirations about it. I do research and seeing what I'm getting is real. It's as if I was forced to write this book. So I think this book is very special because of how I was, pushed into it.
When you do write, what do? You reserve yourself, or how do you get your inspirations?
I think
I realize that you do some research too as well. So
it's more inspiration than research. Research is normally for confirmation. Sometimes I think I spend months with things going through my head, maybe years sometime. So when I write, it comes very easy, very fluent. It doesn't take much. I don't need to make notes to write.
yeah.
I just sit, I set up my chapters, and it just flows as to what to write. I don't have much. I'm very gifted naturally
Yeah.
in writing.
What do you attribute that to? Do you think you gifted, called?
Yes, I think I'm an air sign personally. Actually, I'm a cardinal air sign, and my nature is there. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. I think that is one of my strengths. Not I think. I'm convinced that is a strength because it comes very easily without any effort. Many people writing a book, they'll make notes for months and have to go back to those notes. I just sit and write, but it comes after thoughts going through my head, and once they go there, they stay there. I don't need to try to remember them.
And you don't preach or teach?
I can teach, yes, and I can learn as I teach, but I'm not into the preaching business.
But you do consult the Bible on a regular basis?
Sure, I live by it. I'm very grounded in it. Yeah.
And you
It's
think
my guide.
it's your guide?
Yeah.
For those persons who reserve that for just a brief moment, how do you respond to it?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, I was a little bit distracted. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but for those persons who they don't see the Bible as something or a book to be grounded by, because some people have doubts about the scriptures as well. How do you get them to realize that that is an important part of understanding oneself?
Well, I don't. I'm not supposed to. As a matter of fact, I have many closer friends who are Buddhists and Hindus than I have who are Christians. The first thing we have to remember, we have to respect the beliefs of others. And we are not supposed to force others to believe what you believe. My objective is...
Is that the reason why you're not a preacher?
That's the main reason why I'm not interested in being a preacher. I'm not trying to convince anyone that what I say is so. I'm getting people to think outside the box. What religion does it box you into a certain belief? You cannot go outside of that box. If you give a Christian with a certain religion evidence that goes contrary to their belief, they will say they have to ask their pastor. They cannot go outside the box and think and analyze. They don't have the capacity to do so. Religion does that to people. What I want people to do is to think outside the box and make a choice based on the honesty of what you see. Not what I see, but what you see. But at least allow information to come in so that you can decipher with a rational mind what is right from what is wrong.
But
So
what about
I have respect.
What about the negative spiritual influence now that seeks to take control of the mind of individuals to the point where they fail to reach that place where they have to make that personal decision for themselves?
Well, I have pity for those people when something overrides you with such an influence. And then
Yeah, because it manifests itself after a while.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's easy to tell if you're not in your right
Yes,
mind,
that's
because
correct.
you're influenced by something
That's
else,
correct.
that is certainly not good, but evil.
Yes. I have pity for them, and anything that I can help, I'd be happy to, whether pray or whatever. But that's the most saddest thing that can happen to someone, to be overridden by another entity. You know, so
Can reading this book about astrology, can that arrest someone to come to the reality of who they really are?
100%. I'm still inspired by it. I'm still motivated and driven. It makes you excited, happy. You realize that what you have in your characters are not flaws. They are strengths that are to be applied to certain aspects in life. You were born to do so. It's a happy feeling, fulfilling.
But you don't think this is a good message to have? No, you're here on national radio talking about it. So this information is exposed to a whole range of people who obviously have different way of thinking and have different minds and have different astrology, and some are Pisces, Sagittarius, whatever you have it. The moon, I know there are some people who naturally, themselves, they know that when the moon is a certain time, you can tell it's a good time for planting.
Yes,
and some people know this naturally.
Yep.
But if they are to find themselves associate astrology with themselves, how can you get to that place when in fact you might be missing out on life? And what would that mean for somebody who never had that privilege to connect those astrological signs?
Well, it is about balance. Many people know what the McDonald Almanac is, that yellow book.
Yes,
that
once
used
upon
to
a time.
use.
We don't
Yep.
see much of that anymore.
No. And you have many Christians who are farmers using that book to plant. And I've witnessed the crops growing 3 times bigger than they would when they plant in alignment with where the McDonald Almanac guides you. But in the back of the McDonald Almanac
Yes.
has such huge evil things beyond your wildest imagination. I think you know what I'm talking about. There's spiritual things you can get involved in, and people have found their way into evil things through that same book. So it is about what you apply yourself to. Life is about balance. You have to know the balance. The cutoff line for astrology is that they are for signs, not predictions, not manipulation of anybody, just signs.
Yeah.
That's all where the Bible stands. So.
I mentioned in my deliberation with you so far about the significance of Jesus Christ, and I said that because even he gotta be important. Even the very dating of history is associated with him.
Yep.
Before Christ, and we in 2024 after Christ.
Yep.
Just you personally, how would you explain what you understand about Jesus Christ?
Do you hear some people making some sarcastic jokes about Immaculate Conception and making fun of it? How could he be born of a woman and she was not impregnated by a man? But yet today we can do artificial insemination. You have surrogate children who are born. You can have a child being born of a woman who does not belong to the woman. So there was no mystery as to how Christ could have been born of a woman and not have any genetics from the woman. We can do it today. And if you look at the concept of the Trinity, of which Christ is part of, you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Father is like the cardinal. He's the leader. He's the one who sent the Son. The Son will say his Father sent him. The Father sent the Son to create the world. And the Son was executing orders from the Father. At one point, he even told him, "Do not touch me. I had not yet ascended to my Father." And then the Holy Spirit, which is the third entity of the Godhead, changes us. It enters into us. It transforms us, etc. When you look at the astrology, we have the same structure. You have fixed, mutable, and cardinal signs. In every sign, you have the fixed signs, which are the doers, they are the executioners. You have the cardinal, who is the initiator. And then you have the mutable, who changes things. The mutable are those that come at the end of a season, so they are considered to change the season from perhaps spring to summer. But if you look at it good, the Godhead is established exactly as the mutable, fixed, and cardinal signs of astrology. Same symbol, same system, same structure. You can revert to anything from the astrology, and you can see biblical interpretations within it. If you look at, for example, you have 4 cardinal directions: east, west, north, south. You have 4 cardinal signs. You have 4 feet on most animals, 4 legs on a table, 4 wheels on a car. 4 is like a main structure that goes on philosophically in every aspect.
The creator of, let's say, a car with 4 wheels is not mistaken. It's not a mistake, but comes out of the astrological thinking of life, that if you're going to do something, this number have to play a role. 4.
No, because of what it represents. It represents balance and equality. If you put a chair on 3 legs and you tip it, it'll be easier to fall over. If you look at the kind of people you need in life, you need the sanguine, you need the melancholic, the phlegmatic, and the choleric. The 4 of them combined fulfill the roles that you need to fulfill for the world to function competently. It's like
quickly, I don't have a lot of time. The Bible, what do you think of it?
I believe that the Bible is a historical book that has many deep lessons that were guided by God himself. And I don't see any controversies within the Bible. It's spread out very wide. I think it's spiritually guided and it's intact. I think everything, if you look at it good, if you hear stories about the secret, the secret would tell you, you have to seek and visualize. Those concepts came from biblical entities. The Bible was not written by King James. King James was not any Christian per se. He wasn't even probably a straight man. But King James paid 144 students to interpret the scrolls. So lots of us lead back to him writing it, but that's not the case. They were interpreted. And I believe they were divinely guided and designed to inspire us and to lead us and to guide us.
So you see there's a valuable source.
It is very valuable for us.
All right. That was quite interesting, a conversation. Let me just remind our listeners, aside from what we're talking about, you probably won't have, can you have any discussion with folks who might want to ask you questions on that night? You would be more than willing to answer. But in order for you to get a copy of the book, one way of getting it is on March 30th, when there will be a book launch here in St. Martin. This is your first for this one, or you've had a book launch before?
I've had a book launch already for
Not here.
The book before this. It was held at Lynn's Bakery in St. Peter's.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
so you invited.
Can I clarify something?
Yes, please do.
What you mentioned just now about the Bible, I am a big study of, for example, Gandhi. I read a lot. I read a lot of Confucius. And they all say the same thing. So I'm not saying that only the Bible can give you, but I'm saying it's good and it's intact and that you can learn from others as well. That's what I'm saying.
I guess everybody has their value. We just got to find out your niche and be true to it. All right. So extend an invitation in closing to the public to come to Belia Community Center on the 30th.
Sure.
Quickly.
I'm inviting everyone, the folks, my people from St. Eustatius, the Golden Rock, from Sable, come over for a nice Easter weekend where you can have something very inspirational.
So he ran away like lightning struck him.